Hi, welcome to my first podcast. I am Gabie, short for Gabrielle, and I am Gabiesgoodies on Instagram and other social media. And I'm excited to start this podcast. I really wanted to start a podcast just primarily for fun because I thought it looked like so much fun, and I watched the other podcasters, and I thought it'd be really enjoyable to join in that community. The podcasters community, they just all seem to have such a passion for their knitting, and I do too, so I thought that would be just fun to join in. And I also, I just love to knit so much that I think that my normal friends don't really care about it. So I needed an outlet to talk about knitting, talk about the details of it, talk about the issues or the excitement I'm having about a project, and then to show it off. And I know I like to show off my knitting. We work so hard on it, and so I think it needs to be seen by other people other than just us, and non-knitters don't have the same level of appreciation for a hand knit garment because I don't think they realize how many hours and how much love goes into every stitch. So I just wanted to share it with the other knitters out there. And the last reason I want to do it is because I'm a brand new knitting designer, and I just have a couple of patterns out right now, but I wanted an outlet to show off my work and also to get some feedback to see what y'all are interested in, and just to be able to have that back and forth with you guys as the knitters, and so we can help each other out and y'all can help me become a better designer. So I'm so excited to podcast with you and talk with you and just share my ideas, and especially share all of my knitted goodies. So hopefully you'll keep watching in the future. So for this first podcast, I wanted to show off my Andrea Mowry Boho Blush Shawl. It's what I'm wearing. I knit it probably at least a year ago. It might just have been last fall, or it might have been the fall before that. I can't remember. But this is, again, Andrea Mowry Boho Blush. It is a very large crescent-shaped shawl with fringe at the bottom. I love the fringe. It's probably a big reason what drew me to the pattern in the first place was that fringe. So constructing it, I started here in the middle with a small cast on, and then it went to garter, some one color brioche, which was first for me, a first stitch for me. I'd never done brioche stitch before. It's very squishy. It does take a little bit of time though. Then garter, some fan and feather lace, more garter, and then there's some more brioche, garter, lace, garter, brioche, and then the fringe. So the fringe is what drew me to the pattern. However, putting the fringe on was not my favorite part. I didn't enjoy cutting the fringe, and I didn't enjoy applying the fringe. But I have to say, I love the finished object. It is so much fun to wear, and the fringe just makes it feel so cool. So I love it, and I like a big shawl, and it's cozy. So the yarn I used was a Knit Picks, I think it's called Caprette. It's a 80% Merino, 10% Cashmere, and 10% Nylon. It's very soft and squishy, and I enjoyed knitting with it. After using it for a while though, it has pilled some. I have a few pills on here. It's not terrible, but I probably wouldn't use this yarn for like a sweater because where it rubs a lot, like under the arms, I think it would pill a good bit. But in a shawl, it's not terrible. And it's so squishy and soft. I've never used any other cashmere yarn, so I don't know if all cashmere pills or if it's just this one. Y'all will have to let me know if you have other experience with cashmere. But all in all, I love this shawl. I enjoyed knitting it, and I enjoy wearing it, and I think the fringe is so much fun. It kind of made me want to add fringe to everything. I didn't, but it made me want to add fringe to everything, except for the pain of actually cutting it and applying it. But I love it. The next thing I'll show you, I don't have a lot to show you today, but I have another little work in progress. I am making a little doll dress. I'm just making up the pattern as I go, and it's made from some leftover pink yarn. So currently it's kind of a tube top, and then it's going to flare out a good bit. And then I think I'm just going to do like spaghetti strap, or maybe some wide little straps that I'll kind of sew on afterwards. I didn't want to get into trying to do sleeves and stuff. But this is for my daughter, and it's to go with a doll I'm making her for her birthday, for her 6th birthday. I was very proud of this because I did my own embroidery on her face, and I think it just turned out so cute. So I was so happy about that. And I'm making basically kind of like a little wig for her hair. I crocheted a little cap, and then I'm attaching all of the strands very similar to how I did it for the shawl fringe. And then I'm going to sew that onto her head. So I think once it's all done, I think she's going to look so cute once I get it on there. She's going to love it. She loves everything I make her. So it's fun to have someone really like what you do for them. The other thing I wanted to show you guys is a swatch. Now, I've never done 2-color brioche, so I really want to try that. And I have some leftover yarn from a top I made a little while ago. It's actually one of 2 garment patterns I have out. It's called Lule, L-U-L-E, and it's made out of Sweet Georgia yarns. Let me get that just a second. Okay, so I got the yarn. This one I remember is called Cranberries in the Snow. And I can't remember what this one's called. But I did a small swatch of a 2-color brioche. I looked it up online to see how to do it because I've never done it before. And I found a really good YouTube video. I'll have to link it below. I can't remember her name, but she was really good about instructing you. There's kind of 4 rows that you do to make one set, I guess you could call it, of the brioche knitting. It's a little bit tricky to remember where you are. It's not forgiving if you make a mistake. And my hardest part to remember, I think, is when you have both strands on one end, which one to use. I kept getting tripped up with that. If you've never done 2-color brioche, which I hadn't before, you use the 2 different colors and you knit one, brioche knit, and then you slide your needle through and then you do the other. And then you turn it. So basically you knit 2 rows before you turn it. And then you do the same process all over again. But there's some sequence which I need to memorize. I think it's like a brioche knit, and then purl, and then you do another purl row, and then a knit row, something like that. It's like a 4-row repeat type thing. But it does have a rhythm to it, so I think I'll like it once I really get used to it, but I just haven't done it enough to get in that rhythm. I know Molly from A Homespun House was recently doing a all brioche shawl, and she said that it's really relaxing for her, and she got into such a rhythm that when she would go to other like regular knitting, that she would start doing brioche by accident. I definitely am not at that point. So in my learning a new skill, brioche, I wanted to do a small project. So I was looking up a couple of things, and I think I want to do a hat. I'm thinking about Andrea Mowry's vintage Prim hat, or I think it's Brioche knots pattern by Katrin Schubert Designs. I've never done anything by her before, but her hat looks really pretty. Somebody suggested on Instagram Flashpoint by Knitting Apprentice, which is a free pattern, which is nice, but I think that one's knit out of worsted weight. In my yarn, this one is a fingering weight. It's the Sweet Georgia Yarns Tough Love Sock yarn. It's pretty soft. It's really nice. But I think this is a fingering weight, and I think Flashpoint is a worsted weight hat. And I really like vintage Prims. That hat, it has like a section, like a quarter of the hat is the brioche with the pattern going in and out, and then the rest of it almost looks checkered. And so I think that it'll be easier in a way, because I'll only have to really focus on that quarter of the hat as opposed to having like the cabled brioche all over it. I'm not even sure if that's what it's called, but it, like, the brioche goes in and out in a pretty pattern. So I think that it would be a little bit easier to only have one section of the hat really complicated. I don't really want to do a plain brioche hat where it's just ribbing like this all the way up, because I think I would get bored. I like a challenge, so we'll see how it goes. If y'all have suggestions of hat patterns, brioche hat patterns specifically, for me to try, I'd be very interested in them. Like I said, I haven't ever done 2-color brioche before, so this is a new knitting world for me, a new knitting skill, and I'm really excited to get into it. But please give me suggestions below if you have any, and if you have any designers you really like that do brioche designs, I'd be curious to check those out too. I'll put some of the pictures up here of those hat patterns that I'm talking about, so y'all can check them out. And I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to have more knitting conversation with you later and show you more of my knitting. There are a lot of things I have in the works that I can't wait to show you guys. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.